My friends are usually busy or can't afford to fly to different places, so I usually travel alone. I flew to San Diego for the first time by myself. I've been to most major cities in California except San Diego, so I wanted to check it off my list. I was staying at a hotel near downtown. When I checked in, I met a man who was a little older than me in the lobby. He started a conversation with me about where I was from, how long I was staying, and if I had ever been there before. It was his second time there, and he was also traveling alone. He offered to take my bags up to my room since he was also going upstairs. I accepted his offer and thanked him for his kindness. We took the elevator to the second floor, and he left my bags outside my door and said it was nice to meet me and that I had a good vacation. I thanked him, and he left. When I went downstairs, the woman working at the front desk called me back. She asked what he had been doing while we were upstairs, and I told her that he had only helped carry my bags to my room. She warned me that he had been outside the hotel for a while, and that she was sure he was not a hotel guest. After dinner, I returned to the hotel around 10 Rex. I went to the front desk and explained what had happened. She checked the security cameras and saw no one in the hallway. I thanked her and went up to my room. While I was sleeping, I felt movement on the bed. When I turned around, I saw a man in a mask and a baseball cap crawling on the bed, trying to cover my mouth. I fought him off and screamed for help. A woman knocked on the door and he pushed her to the floor and ran away. The woman helped me and the police were called. Based on the hotel video, he had a hotel key to my room. The hotel refunded me in full and moved me to another room. I tried to enjoy the rest of my trip, but what happened will stay in my mind forever. The scariest thing is to think that he could have done this successfully to many others. My story is a reminder to always be cautious, especially when traveling alone. Always listen to your feelings and never underestimate your vigilance. The events of this story happened a few years ago, probably in 2013 or 2014. Honestly, I don't remember them clearly because this story's a blur and I've tried to forget it over the years. It was Christmas break and I was a freshman at a university in New York City. With that, I was thousands of miles away from my family who lived in Bulgaria. I was at JFK a few days before Christmas Eve because my original plan was to surprise my family and friends in Bulgaria. The airport was very crowded, and this made my travel experience much more complicated and difficult. After hours of going through security, weighing my luggage and waiting, I finally got a break when the first flight from Manhattan to Istanbul took off. I sat next to two men. Unfortunately, I'm only 5'10" and weigh about 110 pounds, which was not a comfortable experience for me. The man on my right was quiet, dark-haired, bespectacled, and seemed healthy. However, the man on my left made me nervous. He would mumble and scratch his skin from time to time, and occasionally even touch my arm. I tried to ignore him and had a peaceful flight, but this was broken when he kept staring at me. I tried to convince myself that he might have a social problem, but when he started talking to me, I began to suspect that. He asked me why I was watching a show that portrayed mentally ill people and murderers so badly. I was very worried and asked him what he needed. He looked me straight in the eye and said very frankly, "I just think it's terrible that people think people who skin other people are crazy." I felt terrified and wondered who I was sitting next to and if anyone else heard it. I tried to ignore him for the rest of the flight and eventually arrived in Istanbul. I quickly got off the plane and calmed myself down, but the story didn't end there. When I checked my luggage, I found a disgusting note in my bag, which must have been slipped in while I was sleeping on the plane. The note read, "I wish I could see what you look like under your skin." A month later, my sister sent me a newspaper article about the man who had been arrested for multiple crimes including rape, kidnapping, and murder in Istanbul. Reading the article made me feel sick, and the whole experience made me not want to travel during the Christmas holidays for several years. In the winter of 2018, to escape the cold weather, my girlfriend Claire and I decided to take a week off to a beautiful beach resort in Mexico. The water was crystal clear and the weather was perfect. The resort was extremely reasonably priced for a 7-day all-inclusive package. For the first 2 days, we lounged around the resort, enjoying the unlimited drinks package. The area surrounding the resort was densely forested and had picturesque roads. So on the third day, we decided to rent a car to explore. We rented a Ford Fiesta and started driving through the dirt roads in the forest. But then we were stopped by three men who came out of the forest. They demanded money, and when one of them pulled out a knife, I stepped on the gas and ran away. Our hearts were pounding from that encounter. The next day, after taking advice from the resort staff, we drove down a similar dirt road to a cenote. However, as we followed the directions of a strange man, we found ourselves being led away from the signs. Claire noticed that he had a large knife in his back pocket. I whispered to her to run, and we started running. The man started chasing us, but luckily he was driving slowly. When we got to the car, three more people came out of the road we had just come from and tried to open the car doors. They banged on the glass, but before they could break the windows, we drove away. We were nearly robbed and assaulted for 2 days in a row. We reported these attacks to the resort staff so they could warn other guests. We have not been back to Mexico since, and honestly, I am not sure if we will ever go back. Even in the supposedly safe areas near the resorts, we are still in danger.